Hey, Katie.
Hey, Tay. Do you know what this bitch says to me today?
Hey, well, we always say that we talk...
I always tell you at least some feedback.
We were going to talk about it together. She wanted my thoughts on the book that we're talking about today. And we always do that, though. We always talk about the book, and then we're like, oh my God, we're not even recording.
But she didn't give me any insight.
And I said, you'll hear my thoughts later, bitch.
Wait, are we doing 30 minutes spilling the tea first?
No, this is...
Okay.
I mean, we can.
I'm fucking lost. When have we ever right?
Honestly,
we ever know what's going
this
on?
is our show. We can do whatever we want.
So true.
Honestly, we're not going to talk about books today. We're going to talk about how, in this clip, I was cutting onions, legitimately before I came here. My eyes are, puffy and swollen. I wish I was crying. That would be...
Yeah,
that
big milestone.
Fun. I know, it would be. But no, it's the onions. I'm making a soup for dinner. It finally feels like fall here in New Jersey.
Lovely.
And yeah, it's like mushrooms, like a veggie stock base. If you guys want the recipe, it's a vegetable stock base, mushrooms, sweet potatoes, carrots, celery.
Ooh.
Gonna make rice with it, and then you put coconut milk in there.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
So I'm gonna see how it goes.
You'll have to let me know. See, I don't mind mushrooms in a soup. That one, my husband does not like a mushroom in a soup. But is it ground? Is it a puree, if you will, or are they actually sliced mushrooms? Actually. See, that would make my heart warm and happy.
Yeah, I love. Well, if it's good, you can come over and have some. Because Gil doesn't really eat soup, so I'm literally making this huge pot, and it's I'm probably gonna have to either freeze half of it or throw it out. But
I'm not gonna lie, I do that with minestrone because Tom's not the biggest soup eater. He'll eat it if I make it that night.
Yeah, but he won't reheat it.
No, unless there's nothing else in the fridge to eat, then he'll go to it. But I like my minestrone soup.
Same.
So to me, that's I'll eat that for lunch every single day.
Same.
And it's amazing.
Yeah. Tonight
we're just doing sheet pan veggies, and I'm putting chorizo and chicken sausage in it.
That sounds good.
I'm at the point I'm going away on Friday. So, you have to, be very careful with what you're buying. I have groceries coming tonight, but, they're enough to get me through, my breakfasts, my lunches. The worst thing I could do is, freeze my bananas, but I put them in my smoothies anyway, so who cares? And I'll 100% have the food all eaten by the time we leave. So, I'm I think I did a good job.
I think you did a great job.
Thanks, Tay.
Honestly, can you guys believe Katie's going to Italy on Friday and not bringing me?
How dare we? You can take that with my in-laws.
It's been a year since, I can't say since I've traveled. Because I've gone to Florida, but I don't consider that really traveling because it's family.
Yeah. I can see
the last time we went away was August for our honeymoon last year. Gil's been studying for his CFA. We might go to Florida in November.
I'll cross my fingers for you so you can go.
I know, please.
Because it's definitely gonna be my only vacation this year.
Yeah.
I will say for my birthday, I would like to get out to Glacier Park and potentially run.
Okay, same. I'll come with you.
All right, you can come.
Okay.
I'm contemplating if I bring my child or not, or leave her. Honestly, maybe peace, Leah. Have fun with Grandma and Grandpa.
I was going to say, I feel like it's just easier.
Yeah. And, honestly, if I'm going to go out to Glacier National Park and potentially run, I might try to, find another... So, I'm running a race. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but I'm trying to run a race in every state. I've hit 24 states. Actually, I think my last one was your bachelorette.
Yes.
Because I was supposed to run during my honeymoon and I got COVID, so I couldn't run in Utah. But I'm trying to, now that I have to fly places, I'm trying to get close to borders so I can do a double state.
Yes.
And I know Glacier Park's a little in to Montana, not tremendously in, but in. But if I could take a 4-day weekend and hit Glacier, maybe even 5 days. I don't know. I'm toying around that. But I'm I can go to Idaho. And just bang out Idaho real quick. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. So that's just my thought. Tom doesn't know yet.
See, I feel you can't bring a baby to a vacation like that. Because even if you're hiking or doing anything, what are you going to do with a baby?
She has to be strapped to us.
And she's going to be a year at that point. So she's probably going to be walking or very close to walking and not going to want to be strapped in.
You're right. She can stay home with grandparents.
Yeah. If you were just going to the beach, take her. A beach or pool.
You're right.
Yeah, you could do that. But anyway.
You're so right. We're not here to talk about states. And
we're here to talk about whatever we want. Like I said, it's our show. What's the word? Anyway, I don't know. Bad Luck Charm by Julie Johnson. So Katie's been raving about this book for
this is my top read so far of witchy books. This hit.
Spooky season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Correct.
I was going to say of the year?
No, not of the year. But I mean, it's up there, in my opinion.
Honestly, the cover
is so cute.
I'm
excited to see what book 2 looks like.
Book 2 is definitely going to be Cade and the
Imogen.
new girl. Yeah, Imogen. Thank you. I mean, like, I'm really honestly more intrigued by Graham's brothers.
I'm hoping, Julie, you're probably not listening to this, but in the off chance you are, keep writing, and we want the brothers.
Like, I don't want, you can't have like two brothers like be with the same girl. It's gross. But I want the book to be like almost like love triangle, like where they're fighting over her at first, but then like one like early on like is like actually never mind.
Yeah, like you have.
But I feel like the twins like fighting like would be funny.
I think it'd be comical, and I mean that kind of makes sense. I feel like twins, since they're very similar. I mean, I don't know. I'm just like gathering. Yeah. Like they would probably have similar interests in females.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be curious.
I don't know why I'm like so curious about them. Like the one scene,
because there's just one scene. There's a couple scenes, but
there's like two scenes. But like the one when she's at the like Madame Zelda's house, and like the one runs inside the other one, just like kind of like standing there, like kind of like watching her, and she's doing like the 45-point turn. Yeah, I don't know why I was like, whatever twin that was, like that's my boyfriend. She was like, I don't know what it was, but I could just like picture him like stoic, but also kind of like smirking, like look at this fucking bitch. Yeah,
that scene. So I'm gonna talk about a series. And I think I've talked about it really. Like, just give me a quick tidbit. When I was living in Myrtle Beach, I used to like do baseball tournaments and like cover them for hours. And I started reading a series called the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Ivanovich. And it is just fucking out loud, hysterical, like stupid banter. It's like this girl becomes like a bounty hunter and she fucking sucks at it. It's all based in New Jersey. But like it's like stupid shit like that where you're trying to get away from like a murderer or something. Like you're taking like 7 years to get out of the situation where like it was like that moment that I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking good. It reminded me of that. But this book was like, I think a really good, let's back up.
Because I don't say Katie Jean. I know that I normally do the synopsis, but I feel like this is yours.
Let me turn the book over. Because no. Okay. So essentially, Gwendolyn Good. What a great name.
I love the name Gwen.
Same. I've actually asked Tom if I can name our daughter that, and I got a big shot down. Anyway, she takes over an oculate shop in downtown Salem from her deceased aunt.
Yes.
And she does not really believe in witchcraft. She's not like against it. She's nothing like that. She's just like, I don't think this is.
I think she like believes in it, but she just doesn't like partake in it.
Yeah, whereas
she's
like
just like vibing.
like she's not in her grandma or her aunt's
coven.
Thank you. I was gonna say cult, but it's not a cult. It's a coven. So it kind of like, I feel like, just to give you a little, it's because it's small, towny, cute, has some banter. I'm doing a terrible job of synopsis, but I feel like it has a really good combination of lighthearted romance with like some goofy like things thrown into it,
and like there are like dark,
but then it's like a really like you get like a mix of everything, and I was here for it.
Yes,
like it was like, I shouldn't use the word goofy. It was funny at times.
It was the banter and everything was really funny, but then like
her aunt's coven people were goofy, funny ladies. Like that's what I was trying to say. Like like then there's like dark things that are happening because there is a mystery that deals around like some murder.
And Gwen and Graham, the banter
is top tier.
Gwen's really funny.
I think
Graham is really dry,
yes.
But like I liked that about him.
So Graham is older than Gwen. Gwen comes to live in Salem because of her aunt's passing, whereas Graham is from this town. Yes. And he was like this older guy that she was completely enamored by ever since that he helped her on the beach when she's like got a cut.
Sea urchin.
Yeah, and he's a lifeguard.
Like, pull the barbs out. Yeah,
and he kind of like, because he's older, like she was infatuated, and of course he was kind to her. Like they ran into each other at like a sub shop, if I'm not mistaken, and like he was polite, but like what was it that did them in? I forget.
Oh, so okay.
Oh, okay.
So she would only go visit Salem every summer. She's from New Jersey. That's my girl Gwen. Grew up in a trailer park, or like she bounced around.
Yeah,
like,
her mom was
mostly like in like New Jersey is what I remember. Her mom is like a terrible, disgusting, awful human being. That's another thing. Like that whole like plot like is also like very like triggering. Like it could be, you know,
it could be.
She had like a very like, I would say like verbally, emotionally abusive mother,
and
like,
at times very scary upbringings where like you didn't know who was in her. Like
her mom would bring home like random men, and like it was just like she didn't grow up in like a safe, like nurturing environment. And the only time she ever felt that was when she would spend like the 12 weeks at her aunt's in Salem. So after her aunt like unexpectedly passed, and she inherited the house and the shop, she moved back to Salem, and her best friend Flo lives in Salem. It's like from there, like they met like over the summers and like always kept in touch, like they're best friends. And Flo is like finally convinces her that it's like time for her to like leave her house and like stop mourning and like come to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And she's walking, like she gets to the bar, she's walking towards Flo. Yeah. Okay, so Flo is dating Desmond, and Desmond and Graham are best friends.
Yes.
So she's walking towards them. Graham's back is like facing the door, and he doesn't realize that the girl that Flo has invited to like kind of set him up with is Gwen, like from his like youth, Firecracker. Yeah. And he's like talking like shit, and he's like, oh, like another fucking like witch, blah blah blah, like I'd rather slam my dick in a door, all this shit. And Gwen hears it, and like she takes it very personally, mostly I think because
he's like dissing her aunt.
I was gonna say, I think it had more to do with like her aunt, that she was like very like protective of, and he was like, she was kind of like, fuck this guy. But also Gwen keeps everybody at like arm's length. Yeah. So she like was always infatuated with Graham, like kind of put him up on like a pedestal, like since she was a child. And after hearing that, like I think like to protect herself, she was kind of like, fuck this guy. And like for 2 years then following that, every time they were in like the same vicinity, or every time like Graham would like try to like interact with her at like, you know, the bar or at like a party at Flo and Desmond's house or whatever, she would basically run away from him.
Yes.
Graham owns.
Thank you. I'm like, wait, what?
Graham owns. It's like a PI company.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And he's like a consultant for, I guess like other like police departments and stuff to like hire his company, like when there's like a bigger case or something.
Bigger case, like they need more like, because police are bound by
the law.
So like like Graham can kind of operate in a gray area.
Yes.
And this is what is needed with like these murders
or
sacrifices.
Yeah,
sacrifices.
One
one
actual
sacrifice.
Murder and like a bunch of like animal sacrifices.
I really did enjoy. I just got like the biggest kick. Okay, whatever. So we're just gonna jump right into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the aunt's coven when they kidnapped her. The fact that 3 ladies overpowered this girl. I mean, mind you, she was drugged.
So they did drug her.
But like they got her to this basement.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I was cracking, but then like they're like arguing when she's like blindfolded. I don't know. That's like I think you and me trying to kidnap someone. This is what we would do. We would somehow start bickering and like arguing what to do.
And then they like the one like it was like Agatha, and she's like, you're not supposed to say our name. And then like they all kind of just like start. And so basically like they want Gwen to leave town because there is like a dark coven that apparently Gwen's aunt like banished.
Yes.
Using magic. And they need to like kill Gwen on like the night of a full moon
to undo,
and like spill her blood in order to undo this like banishment or whatever, so that they can get their powers back and like retake over Salem, I guess. And the reason why Gwen is like pulled into all this is there is a donkey animal sacrifice chopped up, put into the shape of like a pentagram in the alleyway, like outside of her shop.
Yeah.
And the local PD call Graham Graves Grave Watch. They call his company, and that's how like he's involved, and that's why like they start spending some time together.
Yes.
It's like
forced proximity. Like he's in charge of ensuring that like she's okay, but also I don't want to call her like a person of interest, but like she kind of is a person of interest by the police as well, because she does own an opulent shop. She is well aware of like the sacrifice, like the pentagram. Like there was a couple things that she was able to identify because of the sacrifice.
Yes, left. And then the woman who's murdered is Mrs. Proctor, who's her neighbor and one of the 3 women who kidnapped her.
Well, that's later.
Yeah, but she's a person of interest because a knife from her shop with only her fingerprints on it is the murder weapon.
Yes. So there's like she already was on their radar a little bit, and then like really becomes on their radar. Like almost becomes like a suspect more or less by that point.
Yeah. Like I think in the beginning they basically like Cade Hightower, Detective Cade. He is like infatuated with Gwen.
100%. So enamored.
Yes. And then Graham's like, this is my bitch. Like Graham's basically like, I've been playing the long game here for 2 years. Like obsessed with this girl.
Literally.
Like you're not just gonna come in here
and just take her.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm trying to the dickhead comment passed up. I thought it was kind of funny. I want to go back to the beginning. So Julie, I need to know where you're from because on page like 39, she talks about her mom and how she's basically like constantly living in these trailer parks, and like the only great time was like staying with Aunt Colette in Salem. So mom and I were eking out in a colorless town just off the New Jersey Turnpike, or the closest thing to ethnic food for 20 miles in any direction was understaffed Taco Bell. Where off the turnpike were you? I need to know.
It had to be South Jersey.
It had to be South Jersey.
Yeah.
Number one, because there is nothing in South Jersey for miles, and there's definitely nothing of like ethnic food down there. But yeah, I was just like kind of cracking up that like that's the first thing. I love the little jabs at New Jersey. I feel like if you're from New Jersey, you're allowed to diss it, but if you're not, like
I said this whole,
I want to know where you're from. Why don't you like us?
I'll fight. It's kind of like I can talk shit about like my sibling, but if somebody else does, like your destiny, like I can talk shit about New Jersey because I'm from here. But like if like you like are from like Pennsylvania and you think you're gonna talk shit about New Jersey, like you're from Pennsylvania. You know, I'm not gonna.
Certain areas can talk shit, but not all. But I love the like you definitely get like a who did this, who hurt you moment with Graham. Like he's very protective, like Teresa was saying. Like even though she was younger, I don't think the infatuation started obviously then. I think until she moved back. I think he thought she was like a cool kid. And I love that scene too, like how like you get because like what little girl wasn't infatuated with a lifeguard or like someone older in their town?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was a lifeguard during the summer, and then he was like the like all-star like quarterback and like valedictorian. He went to like Harvard. Like his family is like very like well known in Salem. So like like just like kind of like an all-American like kid, teenager,
but I think Julie writes Gwen very relatable to a lot of girls, both at like a younger stage in their life where you're doing cartwheels in front of the lifeguard stand because you thought that'd be cool to show off. But like when you look back at it, you cringe at the thoughts of yourself doing this. You're like, what the fuck was I doing? This was not cool. Like,
and I think they're like 5 years apart. So I think there's like one point like when like she's like they're like flashing back, and like when like literally like her inner monologue is like 5 years. When we're in our 20s is not bad. But like 5 years when he's 15 and I'm 10, like
that's a big difference.
He doesn't like me.
No, he's looking at you like me, like I'm either like some weird child or like cute. That's it. But then like she grows up and like again just kind of like putting the dye in diet since 3 hours ago when I started like I don't know. She writes Gwen as a very normal, average girl that could be related to by many, which I think is why like I was so enamored at first. I was like, this is me. Yeah. She's me. She also runs.
I think she's only 25.
I believe she's young.
I think she's like 25 or like in her like mid 20s. And I just thought it was funny because and like I don't know how old Julie Johnson the author is, but
I actually think she might be closer to our age.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Gwen was giving me like very like millennial vibes.
Yes.
Like her like jokes and like her like little like humor. I was like so millennial. Technically she would be Gen Z though, I believe at her age. I don't care. I just thought I was like this girl should I was like Gwen really is like 34, but
no, but really. But like she has like trust issues because of her mom. Like all the men that she's seen come in and out of her lives. So but you're like I do love it's a longer book, it's 500 pages, but I almost think and maybe it's just me because I was so obsessed with this book and still am. I kind of like the length of it because I think to rush the trust issue and like have her jump right in with Graham would be like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like you kind of, it's like she really fills the backstory. Like we've got trust issues here.
Yeah.
And he does say like he's been doing this for the past few months. Like he's so over it. He's been waiting around for her to admit how she feels and like for her to finally trust him. Because like she always she doesn't trust anybody. she gives like little inklings of trust here and there, but has not like jumped full force into like fully trusting Graham.
Right.
Like she takes everything into like her own hands and like tries to work out the situation.
And like everything he does, she like twists and like makes it like he's making fun of her or he's like manipulating her. And he's like, can you give me a fucking break?
Yeah.
I will say, because I know like the length like would turn a lot of people off. It does. It reads really quickly.
Yes.
But like one issue that I have with it, there's like one part, and again, I was like, this could have been cut. Like I didn't care about this at all. She's like talking about her aunt's house, and she's explaining like every room, and they're like going through, and it's like this could be a dining room, but it's empty, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like you could just be like, hey, like she only ever decorated one room. I don't need to know what the other rooms are. Like little things like that. That I was like, you could just, that's 2 pages. I think like I like marked it down as like 2 pages of just like explaining like the layout. And I was like, I don't care.
I think because I like low key want to be Gwendolyn Good that I was like, yes, these are our rooms in the house.
Was like, there's going to be a library.
This is where my library will be.
No, like I mean like the library when she's explaining, she's like, oh, I would love a library here. And then like later on in the book, like 300 pages later, Graham's like, oh, I'm going to build you that library. You mentioned it like the one time that you wanted this to be a library. And I'm like, okay, like that's cute. But I'm like, I don't care that her dining room has orange wallpaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't mind it. I think we, like, again, if I just feel like this would, well, first off, hold on. Let's talk about running through a graveyard. So Gwendolyn Good likes to run. Same girl, me too. However... And I will say, the one time that I was in Salem, all of like 12 years ago, from what I can recall, the graveyards are, in my opinion, beautiful.
Graveyards can be beautiful. They're like very architecturally beautiful.
And like I don't know, like there's something really like, I don't want to say calming, but I don't mind. I'm also weird. So like I personally don't mind walking through a graveyard,
people
looking at stones.
Go to graveyards like when you go to the South or like Europe.
They're
tourist destinations. It's fine. You're
like the one.
You don't have to explain yourself.
Well, sometimes I mean, like you never know.
But like, just going to the local graveyard and like rolling in.
Definitely don't do that. I swear. But like the one graveyard in Mattawan, it's like one of the most active cemeteries. Or I'm sorry to say cemetery. There's a difference between graveyards and cemeteries. It's the most active cemetery.
Well,
in
can you
New
explain
Jersey.
that? Because what's the difference?
So the difference I actually can. So I believe, quote me if I'm wrong. Hold on, let me get Google because I'm fairly certain I'm right about this. Graveyards are attached to a church or some kind of church establishment where cemeteries are just like freestanding. And I think it might be opposite if I'm not mistaken. Please hold. I really thought, I'm trying to think.
Cemetery versus graveyard.
That's what I just did.
Oh.
They use them interchangeably. Okay, two locations. So
graveyard is more often used for smaller plots. Cemetery is perhaps more commonly used due to avoiding the word grave. Oh. I think Katie lied. I think they're the same thing.
I thought it was different. Well, I could have sworn that one had...
I'm going to say right here, right now, we are going to change the definition.
That's fine. Okay, wait. Cemeteries and graveyards might not be attached. Okay, so maybe it is interchangeable. Maybe I'm absolutely incorrect. I really thought like that one had the church attached to it.
Here's the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard. A graveyard is an area of land often next to a church.
Okay, so I was right.
Okay.
Or no, it was opposite. Whatever.
It doesn't
matter. Anywho, they are quite beautiful. I just like there's one in like when I typically run a lot in like my husband's hometown, just because whatever, it's great running streets. But like there's a pretty decent sized cemetery there. I just don't know if I'd run through. Like I've contemplated running through it because like I could get like a lot more. It's like sometimes you have to make up your miles because if you live in a small town, like you can't just like run a ton.
Right.
So I always think about like doing a loop, but then in the back of my mind, which is funny because like a murder does occur in the graveyard in this book, and Gwen stumbles upon it, which is her neighbor, Mrs. Proctor.
Yeah.
I always think like if I'm running by myself in a graveyard, because 9 times out of 10, who else is going to be there when I'm doing these runs?
The grave diggers.
Is something going to happen to me? And no one's going to know because no one's around because everyone's dead. So I just, congrats to Gwendolyn Good for having that kind of power and fearlessness to run through a graveyard.
Isn't it Love on the Brain where she also runs through the graveyard and she gets locked
she gets stuck in there? Yeah. Like there's no gates at the one that I run past, but I'm always like...
We almost got stuck in a graveyard. It was me, my mom. I don't remember who else. It was definitely me and my mom. We went. We were like, oh, it's going to close soon. It may have been after my grandma's funeral. Oh, it was. It was after my grandma's funeral. My mom was like, we have to do a drive-by of the plot because there was like something on like the grave, like on like the headstone that we wanted covered. And I was like, let's just go do a drive-by really quick before they close because like in the morning we're not going to have time. And we drove by, and I guess like behind us, like they started close. Like it was
scary.
Like, and we like could not find a way out. And then we finally got to one, and they were about to close it, and they saw us coming, and they like reopened it. But I was like, we would have just like, what would we have done? We have to like call the police and stuck in the graveyard.
When we were in Paris and we were walking through, I forget whose grave we went to go see. Went to go see someone's grave, some rock star person. I started getting excited because like some of those plots are beautiful. First off, like the Europeans just sometimes do things better. I like their plots better, how like they do everything over there to like
they're like architecturally
just
like,
really pleasing. I don't know, like they're really quite beautiful. But I forgot that like I was in a cemetery where like people were still being buried and people were going to like pay respect. So my husband had to be like, Katie, you had to stop like smiling and like being like so giddy because like people are coming here to like, you know, whatever, they're sad.
Yeah.
I really will say at the end of the book, I always say first off, I want to be buried. I don't know. I want to like be back in the earth where I've come. However, I also think I'm going to totally roam as a ghost and like haunt people. But I want to be able to like go back and forth. Like let me be with my people, but like let me come haunt people and like also like be like a trickster. I don't know.
Yeah.
I always say I need to find something clever to put on my gravestone. Like I want something like that people take pictures of.
What's stupid?
And I thought it was fucking amazing that in the end, like Graham was going over how like he wants to have matching funeral plots, and she's like, "Yeah, but I want mine to say I'm stupid." Yeah. I'm like, "That's amazing."
Yeah, it is. It's really cute. The two of them, like, okay, if you don't like, it's a slow burn, but it is like I don't want to say it's like a bully romance because like they're not like physically bullying each other.
He like puts her in her place.
He really puts her in her place.
I like it. I'm here for it.
And like he's not afraid to like yell at her, and like if that is not your vibe, then you're not gonna like Graham. But like she kind of needed it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say like yell at her, but like he has no problem being like, you're being a stuck-up brat. Like you don't trust me. Like even with the whole like she rushes in because essentially her is it her psychic reader or crystal ball reader? Who they're looking for?
Zelda. Psychic, yeah. She does like cards and
thank
stuff.
You, psychic. I couldn't think of the word. So they're looking for Zelda because she hasn't shown up to work. And like, he literally is like, don't do this. And she's like, I'm going to go look for Zelda.
You know, I was getting so frustrated with her in the beginning.
She's very stubborn.
So stubborn. Like, they're literally like, your life is in danger. And she's like,
I'm good.
And she's like, she gets kidnapped. Okay, granted, by like 3 old ladies. But then it's a criminal investigation, and she's like pretending like she doesn't remember.
Yeah,
anything.
Like she's trying to like be nice to her neighbors, protect her, because like,
and
she doesn't
like,
want them to get in trouble.
And like these people are like everybody, like all these like side characters, minus like Flo and Graham or whatever, treat her like shit. Like Zelda treats her like shit. Hetty, which eventually you find out that she really is treating her like shit. Like her work, like her employee, like.
It's so funny for someone who has trust issues. She trusts certain people
everybody besides Graham. I feel
literally everyone besides the person she's supposed to be trusting.
I feel like she keeps Graham at a distance because she knows that he has like a real ability to hurt her if things don't work out.
Like she feels for him, yeah.
Because
whereas like everybody else is like whatever, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
No. This to me was like I randomly saw a page from is it Indie? What's her handle?
Indie romance book something.
If I saw it, I'd be like, yeah, that girl. Yeah, so like I was up at 3 a.m. because #anxiety, and like I saw her TikTok, and like she just put up like a rotation of like videos or like pins, and like this was on, and I was like speaking to my soul. Downloaded the next day, and like I literally told my husband, like, take care of our child. I'll see you when I'm done.
Yeah.
This just like hit something for me that like like you're looking for a book that like you with hockey, right? Like you like hockey romances. Right. Like after a while, like you read some things, you're like, I know what I'm looking for. I'm trying to find it in a book. Like this to me had like the perfect amount of like banter, humor, like some goofy moments, but like good moments between like the characters for development, some darker aspects, murder, there's a mystery, like good spice. I love a slow burn. Like everything that I wanted in a witchy book, I finally found, and it was
bad luck charm.
So I might get annoying to the author and to you, but I'm obsessed.
When you love something, you really love it.
Yeah.
I know, you've been talking about it forever. I was like, all right, I have to read it. The first 30%, I was like, I liked it, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I have to keep going. And then the last, like, I guess 70%, I was like,
you're feeling it.
Pretty hooked in it. My only other complaint, the overusage of them calling each other baby and babe. I was like, shut the fuck up. Baby, babe, baby, babe.
This is so funny because I didn't even recognize any of this because I was so. But I tell you, I feel
so
like
obsessed. You and Tom like do call each other babe.
I was gonna say
all the time.
do. Yeah, like I don't call Tom Tom. If Tom calls me Katie, I'm like the fuck.
Yeah, no, we're like Gil and I'm like stinky, like fart head, like literally like the worst nicknames. Yeah, Gil. I'll be like, ugh. If I want them, I'll be like, honey, can you get me water? But like literally, they were just like, babe. Baby. Oh yeah, babe.
Like even if I am in a fight with Tom, like over something stupid, we still call each other babe.
Yeah.
Like, if he called me Katie, big bitch, I'm like, you're like, get the shovel.
I mean, Gil never calls me Teresa. He only calls me T. But yeah, no, there was a lot. I wanted to like count it, and I was like, I'm not going back now. Wait, I can like search it, like how many times they say it.
Oh,
right?
Speaking of, this is funny. You search, so
I wish it would just like tell me how many.
I know it kind of like plays with the same thing. So someone apparently went to the hospital after one of the football games with Taylor Swift because every time that they showed Taylor Swift, he was supposed to drink, and he had alcohol poisoning. same concept for you, I guess.
Okay, 43 babes.
Wow.
And
500-page book, people. 500-page book. Someone do the math. I'm not doing it. I'd be wrong. She's still counting, in case you're wondering.
And 38 babies. It's a lot. It's a lot, okay?
I still think it's pure perfection.
That's like, those are my complaints, though.
They're not bad complaints.
No. Yeah.
Everyone has, like, nitpicky moments, I think, sometimes. Yeah. You're supposed to. You're allowed to. You're a reader. Everything's objective.
Exactly.
To each their own. However, this was 5 billion stars, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, there was, like, really, like, nice, like, heartfelt moments, too. Like, I wanted to read it. There's like one part where she's like, there's no age at which you'll ever have it all figured out. No magic number where every missing piece falls abruptly into place. You'll get older. There's no stopping that, but there's no guarantee you'll ever get wiser. And I was like, yes.
That's a good one.
Because like, I feel like the older you get, like, I mean, I said it, like, I feel like I'm in a much better place now than I was in my 20s, but like, I don't have everything. Like, I still got like debt. Out. Like, I still have like, there's just, you know, maybe one day when I'm 60, I'll have it all figured out.
No, but I think it just like, I think in like, I don't know about you, like in my 20s, I was so
obsessed
determined
by like certain like milestones, like what you had to accomplish by that milestone.
Yeah. Like, whereas like I hit 30 and all of a sudden I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm doing just fine. Like, I'll figure it out as I go. Everything has like a way and it works out. Like, and do I have things figured out? Fuck no. Like, I'm still learning as I go, but like I'm more lenient with myself.
Yes. Well, you know, and like when I was graduating college, obviously your first thing is like you want to get a job. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get a job. Then by like 25, I'm going to be engaged. By 27, I'll be married. I'll have my first kid like right before 30. My second, like literally like I'll have my first kid at 29. My second, like a year and a half later at like 31.
Yeah.
I'm 34. I got married at 32.
Yeah.
33.
Like I was convinced I was going to have like a house.
33, I got married. Still no kid. Like it's okay. Like you don't have to.
There's
honestly, like it wasn't like I didn't feel bad when I was like not hitting those milestones because I wasn't in a place to be anybody's wife at 26 years old. I was very much still going out, barfing a lot, drinking a lot. But like in my head, like when I was younger, I was like, if I'm not married by 30, if I don't have a child by 30, then I'm like a failure in life. And then I was like 29, I was like, I can't be anybody's mother.
Yeah, like I can barely take care of myself.
No,
it's so true though. Like there's things that like you just don't realize, I think, until you're older sometimes. I also, back to Graham, wish I'd known 2 years ago I could kiss the bitchiness out of you. I fucking love it.
No, like he like really like she starts acting up and he's just like,
it's so great. I will say I prefer a babe and a baby for a nickname. He also calls her Firecracker.
I love
that as well. There are some nicknames, and I will not say because like to each their own with like what you say, but like there's some that I'm just like I would like. I don't know. There's some that are just like I just I can't connect. Honey to me is like
I don't like honey in a sexual setting. Like
same.
I don't want.
And
to
I
be
think
like,
it's because
I use honey as like a. Oh, honey, can you get me some water? Or like, hey, hon, like, can you like as like a cutie, like little. But I'm not gonna be in like the bedroom being like, oh yeah, your cock's so big, honey. What?
I don't know why. Like I just
honey is like a very cutesy.
That's
term.
what I think is I use it in a cutie term, like so that it just doesn't like connect to me. But yeah, but again, like whatever. But like I will say, so this is an interconnected standalone. So there's going to be a second book coming out sometime in November. It's with Cade, who is the police officer in Salem, and then someone else named Imogen.
Yeah, Imogen comes in at the end of like in the epilogue.
She's an actual psychic.
She's a psychic. She like
sees the posting. Yeah, literally. Like I like envision like this long-haired goddess.
Okay, so listen. I'm actually not like I'm like severely insecure, but like I act like I'm not. What I'm about to say is gonna sound not
I can't
great.
wait.
But like this girl, it's just like Gwen and Florence hang out, and like yes, they have boyfriends. Like she's with Graham, blah, blah, but all the single boys, like this new girl walks in and like turns all the boys head, like all of them, and I was like, I want to be the prettiest girl in the room.
Doesn't stop.
I don't want some random new girl coming in and like
there must be something like
crushes on me.
There must be something like eternal about her though. Like
well, she's like she's there to be like the new psychic.
Yeah, but like there must be like how like some people just have like this like presence to them where you have to look like that's the vibe I'm getting from her, and I think it's because of like what she's capable of doing. But I also went back. I've only read one other book by Julie Johnson. But I will say the book that I did read, hold on, please hold, Julie. I have to pull up her stuff because she's written a ton.
Yeah, she has a lot. Her backlog is like
a ton. Like
I thought Daphne Perry's backlog was long.
Yeah, this girl's is long too. I know they just redid one of the covers. I just don't want to. It's like, oh my god, Not You, It's Me. It's like something like that. And I don't want to get everything wrong. Oh, Not You, It's Me, A Boston Love Story. I thought it was great. So like once spooky season's over, I'm going back. There's a couple like Foreign Affairs. Yeah. Like she wrote like that looks really good on Goodreads. So like I don't know. I liked the vibe of the writing, and then I confirmed that I like her writing with another book. So I will be moving forward with kind of like how we use Daphne Perry to fill in like voids where there's just like you have a little bit of a lull or a down period between certain releases. She's now gonna be like my fill-in.
I like that.
I like that for me too, honestly.
Also, so we got a little off topic. Hetty, that's her name, right?
Hetty.
Hettie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hattie?
Hetty.
Hetty?
It's an E.
There is an A, you're right.
Yeah, it's Hetty. She is like the gothic girl who like works at like she's basically the barista in the shop. Yeah. Because there's also like a little cafe. At first, like I thought she was cool. Honestly, this is so ass backwards. I thought that Detective Hightower.
I kid you not. I thought
was part of the dark cult, and I was like, he's just trying to worm his way, and that's why he's getting like so close and stuff. Like about the Graham thing, because he's like, oh, like I'm gonna like lose like my shot and like getting this girl, and I thought that like because he kept like showing up, and then I don't know, he was just giving me like not great vibes.
I'm kind of with you on that. I thought for sure.
I thought because like in my head, I'm like, it would be a crazier twist if it's him, like not the gothic girl that works in the shop, because that's like too obvious. And I was like, and then Hetty will like save the day. Like she's like secretly part of like the coven too. And it's like this whole thing. And then I'm like, oh no, Hetty was the bad one. And the detective really was just the detective. Yeah.
I kind of like that you get thrown off a little bit. I mean, I'm sure maybe, I think towards the end you can kind of pick up that it's about to be Hetty. Yeah. But I kind of thought the same thing too. I was like, okay, like, I'm like, detective stuff 101. I'm like, A, he's already close to the crime because he's a detective. 2, he's trying to get close to the like suspect or main person of interest or whatever the case might be. So like it's perfect.
And he's like very mad that Graham's always around. Yeah. He's like, oh, I can't pull one over on this guy because he's like
he's got my eye
and stuff.
I kind of thought the same thing too.
And then I assume that the O'Banion storyline will like continue on to the next book because you don't know how it ends.
Yeah, you like
after it gets like left like they're just like, okay. I'm like, what happened? Like the brothers came to like kidnap her and attack her. The Graham's brothers fought them off.
Yeah.
And then like that's all you like you don't even see them being fought off. Like you just
like know they're like in a you kind of get like a little bit of a glimpse into like what they're doing, but like the brothers obviously walk away okay, obviously.
But like are the O'Banions in jail? Like we don't know what's happening. So I feel like that's going to be like
a continuation. I hope so. I like if you're going to write a 500-page book, put some stuff in it. Like there's multiple things going on. It keeps you entertained.
Yeah.
I was here for it.
I know Katie gave it 1 million stars.
It's like I never text you being like read, and I'm like no, everyone needs to read this.
Yeah, I gave it 4.
That's okay.
That's good for me.
It is good for you.
I know.
It is good with you. I also think there's nothing wrong with a 4-star book.
No, like
a 4-star book to me is like something I'm gonna 100% recommend.
Yes.
Like even like a 3.5, I would recommend some of those. Like once I get to a 3, it's like,
yeah.
You do you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna scream from the rooftops about this.
A 3 to me is like if somebody asks, should I read this? I'll say, yeah, it was okay. Like, don't prioritize it, but I would read it. It was like cute.
3.5, like I might start talking about it a little bit, depending. 4s, I'm starting to scream.
Yeah, 4 is good. 4.5 is better. 4.75 is 48 babes and 39 babies. Just kidding.
So.
But yeah. And then a 5-star. There's 5-star, which are like, I love these. But then there's God tier 5-star, which is like,
correct.
I will like shove these up my vagina.
Yeah.
And like burn my body with these books.
Yes. To me, this is that.
Okay.
I loved this so much. And again, maybe it was at a time. I probably will do a read or a listen at some point.
I was like, is there audio?
I want to say there might be. And it is on KU.
No, it's not.
It's not?
Mm-mm.
Oh. Just kidding. Do not
it's
listen
not
to
on
me.
KU because I had to buy it.
My baby, bro. I could have just given you my book.
I mean, you could have done that.
You could have just asked.
I don't know.
It is on Audible. So I am probably going to listen to it again. But I don't know. It's just at a time where I've always wanted a witchy book that hit for me, and this was it. It's everything I was looking for. I love it so much I messaged the author.
It's so nice when you find a book that like scratches that itch.
Right?
Because I've been reading a lot of good books lately. I don't know what I'm in the mood for right now, but nothing has like scratched that. Nothing has like made me like want to scream. Well, okay, I can't say that because I feel like Inadequate Air and The Endless War, like the audio, I was like very obsessed with.
About that to be like, please listen to these.
But reading, I haven't like had anything that I've been like, oh, I cannot put this down. Not like, you know.
So speaking of that, you should really try that Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Falling in Love.
I do definitely want to read that. Right now, I have one more arc for the month.
Okay.
A Fire in the Flesh.
Yes.
Which I'm like 20% into already. And that doesn't come out until the 31st. So like I know that I have time, but I love you, Tom. But I just want to kind of get it. I don't want to say like get it over with because I like the tears.
Yeah,
but I want to like
move forward with it. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like when you have arcs. I don't know. Like I've been reading a lot of fantasy too, and I'm kind of like. I mean, that was obviously a Romance Bad Luck Charm, but like
you're not a bit. You read fantasy, but not like in bulk,
right? And I've been like, I feel like very like on a very like large fantasy kick. Like, well, I put my Goodreads. I feel like it started with A Curse of Dark and Lonely, and like since then I've read,
which is a lot for you because that's like over a month.
Okay, let's see. Oh wait, no, it's technically Throne of Glass. That was early September. And then, I mean, I read romances in between, but then Crown of Midnight, Curse of Dark and Lonely, Inadequate Air, Assassin's Blade, Endless War, A Fate Inked in Blood, and now I'm starting another fantasy book, or I just started.
That's a lot for you.
Which is a lot for me. And we had the Hopeless arc. I had the Caught Up arc. A Fate Inked in Blood was an arc. So, like, I feel like there was also just, like, a lot of arcs, and it's almost like you kind of have to get them read.
Yeah.
Even Two Twisted Crowns, which I really liked, which I guess that was also around the same time. when you have an arc, you have to read it.
Yes.
So I feel like I haven't been able to just like read what I've wanted to. Even like I'm doing the reread, but I know like I have to get Air of Fire and Queen of Shadows done before the end of the month, so I can start the tandem read in November, and I'm looking forward to it.
But it's because you like are putting this like timeline on.
Right, but now I'm like a fire in the flesh. I think I'm saying that right. A Fire in the Flesh, yeah. That's another fantasy book that's like 550 pages.
Yeah.
So like I'm like, all right, I need like a week of just like cutesy little romances, and then I can do Air of Fire. Because once I'm reading Air of Fire, I'm gonna want to immediately go into Queen of Shadows.
Oh yeah, because who doesn't want to go into
Queen of Shadows? But I feel like Air of Fire, I remember like I loved it, but like I just didn't care about like Manon and like those chapters.
Yes.
Right, she comes in Air of Fire.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know that like I might struggle a little bit again in the beginning, like to get like to get off. I don't know. We'll see. I love Air of Fire.
If you want a good little like cutesy, well, I wouldn't say cutesy. If you want just good romance, I guess it's romance. You Again.
Yeah, I do want to read that.
That was so
I know, but
good.
I have to read more off my own physical TBR. I haven't even bought Wildfire. There's I gotta.
You.
There's things that I gotta do.
I know. I gotta finish. Witch of Wild Things, which is really good. It's like a 300-page, again, witchy book. I'm over the halfway mark, so I'm like waiting to see if there's like spice or not. I actually don't know, which I'm like so proud of myself because you all know that I go into everything knowing everything.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 books coming out next week. One I pre-ordered because it's coming out the 13th. Like I fly out the 13th, so like what am I gonna do for 8 hours of a flight? 13th. I know. I'm also flying out on Friday the 13th. Just rings so true. Of Magic and Men, I believe it's called.
Okay.
It just, it's scratching that gothic itch. That comes out on the 10th. And then on the 13th, there's a lot of Sleepy Hollow what's the word I'm looking for? Rewritings? No.
Sleepy Hollow retellings?
Thank you. Retellings, that word. There's a lot coming out. I know Hollow is a why choose, where Hollowed is the why choose. Hollowed, if I'm not mistaken, is a YA read. If I'm
okay.
But I am going with the YA on the 13th that releases, and I'm very excited for that. But there's quite a few. Like someone put up a post. I'm sorry, I'm going to say this one more time. Hollow by Karina Hale, also a cool name. I believe that's the why choose. And then Hollowed by Jessica Taylor is the YA book.
I'm trying to think of what I have. Oh, I want to read Wreck the Halls, the Tessa Bailey book. I might wait till November though for that because it's like holiday season-ish.
Yeah.
I have the Rebecca Yarros, An Unlikely Event. Thinking of like what's on my TBR cart.
Oh my god, they changed the title, the cover of this.
Oh,
I liked the other one.
I like the other one, but that one's cute though too.
It's really cute, but I liked the other one as well. Do Your Worst by Rosie Dannon. Teresa got to read the arc of this, and I believe you liked it.
I did.
It's on my TBR. It comes out in November, but the cover I thought was really cute.
I liked the original cover.
Yeah, the stained glass window is really cool.
Yeah. But anyway, that's Bad Luck Charm. Next week we're going to be doing, as you guys know if you've been following us, we normally do a Spilling the Tea, a book, a Spilling the Tea, and a book. That's kind of like the schedule. But since there's so many new releases, we wanted to talk about them. We were going to read
them anyway.
So next week we are going to be talking about Hopeless.
Yes.
But we are going to do a little like quick Spilling the Tea, kind of like talking about like what our current reads are and what we're liking in the beginning of the episode. So if you haven't read Hopeless by next Wednesday, which it comes out Friday, so like do not rush. If you haven't read it, tune in anyway, because we'll spill a little bit and then we'll tell you, okay, if you don't want spoilers, peace. The following week, it's going to be kind of the same format, a little Spilling the Tea in the beginning, and then we're going to be doing Caught Up by Liz Tomford. Caught Up comes out 10/10, so by the time you're listening to this, it's already out. But again, we don't want to like force people to like have to speed read anything because we feel like talking about new releases.
Exactly.
And then the last week, I think it's just a regular Spilling the Tea.
No, I think you already covered it. Didn't you?
Is that it?
Yeah. There's only 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then, that's it. So I guess November 5. We will start with the Spilling the Tea.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably, because there's, like A Curse for True Love comes out October 24th, The Graham Effect, October 31st. So I'm assuming sometime in November we will talk about those.
Yeah.
but we don't have an exact schedule for them yet. And we know Iron Flame comes out November 7th, so maybe at the end of November we'll do Fourth Wing Iron Flame. So just stay tuned. You guys know. Look at the Instagram if you want to know what the schedule is. We post it. We've started posting it every Wednesday, so we'll do a post kind of like a clip from the podcast, and then the last slide is the updated calendar, so you can always find it there. And if you have any questions, you can always DM us. You can call Katie. Her number is just kidding. But on that note, we'll talk to you guys next week. Wish Katie a happy bon voyage.
Ciao.
Ciao. No. Do ciao. Ciao.